the world of company secretaries. Welcome to a new episode of our interview show, The World of Company Secretaries. I am CS Alok, and in this episode, we have CS Amita Desai. CS Amita Desai is a very interesting guest, and we'll know more about her story. But before that, thanks a lot for watching all our episodes, and we really are getting great response from each one of you. Today's guest on the interview show, CS Amita ma'am, has experience of more than 25 years as a practicing company secretary. She started her firm way back in 1995 when very few people thought of getting into practice, let alone women who getting into practice. So she was definitely one of the pioneers in the CS profession, and she's grown leaps and bounds in the last 25 years. CS Amita Desai runs a full-service company secretary firm. Just like how law firms say they have a full-service law firm, Amita ma'am has made sure that every type of corporate law and corporate secretarial service is being provided by her firm, and she's been doing this whether it is an insolvency professional, whether before appearing before tribunals, or your traditional CS practice of giving retainership services to the clients. And the latest she has added to the services of her firm has been CSR consulting, because it is her personal passion, and she's guiding lot of NGOs and corporates on the CSR compliance and the new CSR rules on how it can be implemented effectively, thereby giving real impact in the corporate world and also in the society. She also provides the corporate services like drafting agreements and contracts, which not many CS used to take, and she encourages lot of youngsters to get into practice and also grow their practice. Besides this, ma'am has been one of the faculty in Train the Trainers of the ICSI program, and she's involved in lot of contributions for the development of the CS profession, and also working with ICSI's different programs, and lot of research is being carried out. Talking about her experience, she entered uncharted territory way back in 1995, so she has the rich experience of working under the FERA regime and also the FEMA regime, and the transition was what she says is very, very interesting. She has assisted lot of Indian companies to open wholly owned subsidiaries in countries like UAE, Australia, UK, US, Germany, and many more. This is just a small glimpse of all her professional achievements, but more than this, what is really interesting is she's very, very eager to talk to youngsters, encourage them, and she always says that it is the future generation which has to take the profession of company secretaries to the next level, and she never misses an opportunity to interact with whether it is students or young professionals or anyone in the CS field. And what is very inspiring personally for me in her story is that she started the CS course, then she had to take a break for marriage and she had a kid, and she restarted the CS course when her baby was less than 1 year old, and she finished the CS course, did the CS training, started her practice. So it is even more inspiration for all the women out there that nothing can stop you, and somebody who's done this in 1995 with very few resources and let alone the online help, you can definitely do it today. So this is the inspiring story of CS Amita Desai. I'm sure you're very interested and eager to listen to her. So now let's get into the interview and listen to from CS Amita Desai herself on her entire journey of how she started CS, her experience over the last 25 years, and her views on how the CS profession can grow in the next 10 to 15 years. Let's get into the interview. As I told in the introduction, we have CS Amita Desai ma'am. Hello ma'am, and welcome to the world of company secretaries.
Hello, Alok. Hi.
So as we told in the introduction, ma'am has a huge experience. She's not only an inspiration for all the women out there, but for every student who is studying the company secretary course, and all the company secretaries are out there. Very inspirational person, and we're happy you made time for this, ma'am.
It's always my pleasure, and thanks for inviting me. And congratulations, first of all, Alok. It's a wonderful new initiative which you have started for student and keeping focus on the student and the fresher. Good initiative, long way to go. My all good wishes for the world of secretary.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for your kind words, ma'am. So, as you know, on this show, we talk to different company secretaries, and we are very happy that an experienced person like you made time for this because this will really inspire a lot of people who are watching this. So, the first thing we would like to know, ma'am, is of course, in the introduction, we told a little bit about what you do, but it'll be great if you can tell what you do and what your firm does right now. Then we can go back to the journey of how you all started. So, what do you do now, ma'am?
Yeah, so I think currently we are doing all such thing what a normal company secretary in practice used to do or doing, but we keep on evolving with the new changes in the law and keep adding new portfolio or the vertical in our practice. We started with the Companies Act and then immediately switched over in FEMA also during early regime of FERA also I did some work. Currently we are doing Companies Act majorly FEMA, drafting of various documents and legal documentation like a transaction document, which normally a solicitor or advocate does, but we also do for our retainer who are with me for last 25 years or more than 15, 16 years also, some are there. And few startups for whom we are doing joint venture collaboration or private equity deals where we guide them and we also do drafting, vetting and checking, guiding the startup technical, I mean the technocrats who are not aware about the various jargon or you can say a legal provisions about tag along, drag along, and anti-dilution and a lot of things which they want to understand. So I help them. Apart from that, I am also insolvency professional. So we also do voluntary liquidation. I have started with the voluntary liquidation. Recently, I have completed CSR consultancy, also a course which our institute is imparting, and now I have started CSR consultancy also, which is a long way in future. Which that's what I think. As we evolve, as the market change, as the new law comes in, we try to accommodate or we try to learn more and more so that our clients are properly serviced and also properly they are happy retaining with us. We also do a lot of inbound and outbound transaction, compounding of various violation. E-adjudication is recently started. Also, I do a lot of different kind of drafting, like we have drafted for a company employee manual, then HR policies or employee risk management policy also for a Japanese company we have drafted, which is very meticulous, must be around a 70, 80 page, and it's a very detailed one. We also deal, I mean, since my experience is now more than 20 years, there is many legal opinion also our firm gets. So we provide legal opinion. We also advise SMEs and taking awareness programs for the new director on the board or for the employees for the ESOP plan. So there are a lot of such kind of services. And I also do a lot of pro bono service for the NGO. I'm on the advisory board for a Uplift Foundation, which is a small foundation which we started 10 years before. This foundation has taken over a small tribal school near Bombay, Nasik, where 350 students are there who are tribals, and we try to help them for skill development for various programs and implementation. So that's what currently we are doing.
Yes, ma'am. I think as you were speaking, I always remember whenever we talk to a lawyer or a law firm, they say we are a full service law firm and they tell all the services we give. I think with what your firm is doing confidently now, even a company secretary and a company secretary firm will get confidence to say that we are a full service company secretary firm because you spoke right from private equity to CSR to entire things like office manual, which is usually the traditional what a lawyer would do with respect to labor law and things like that. So everything under the sun, joint venture agreements you told, and we are very happy. And what the audience will understand here is that it is not necessary that company secretary has to just file some forms, but you can do the entire gamut of things in corporate laws like what you're doing now, ma'am. That's really nice to know.
Unfortunately, I'll just tell you, initially when I started in 95, people have that perception only that any practicing person would be for form filing or doing some clerical job or manually, because that time it was not electronic. So people always consider PCS as might be in such a way that they are not getting job they have started or a woman wants to start. So that perception versus reality is totally drastically very, very different.
Yes.
And I can say that I have never done that, and there are a lot of opportunity. It depends how confidently you can handle. So
Yes,
that's not a correct perception, I should tell. In my initial year, when there was no independent professional director, was also mandated during 2000. I was appointed as an independent director and professional director under Section 309 with central government's approval under 1956 Act in a listed company having three wholly owned subsidiary in various jurisdictions: Singapore, UK, and USA, and Germany, four. And then I was providing all legal and secretarial services for that company. Luckily, the promoters were very confident that I can handle. So that opportunity you can grab if you are very confident that you can handle it. And confidence has to be visible to others, not inside you are confident, but then when you speak, your communication should also be that confident. And you have to take the plunge and take the courage to go into the unprecedented direction or a non-conventional kind of an advice or practice.
So talking about taking the plunge, the question we want to ask now is, when did you take the plunge to join the company secretary course? You said you started practice in 95, but then how did you first take it? I'm sure there was a day where you did not know the word company secretary. How did your journey start?
Absolutely. When I started my graduation that time, 1980, I started my BCom. And I'm in the first year of commerce graduation after passing 10th. I was not aware what I'm going to do. I was thinking after 12th we'll decide, but during that time, after 12th also, the foundation course was not initiated very formally, or it was not popular. So I was not aware of. So when I cleared my BCom in 1985, in my college, in NM College, which is a very prestigious college in Bombay, in the suburb side in the North Bombay. So there was a coaching classes started for the CS, and we were just wondering what it could be. We have asked our accounts professor, and he was very fond of me also because I was always good as a student. So he told us that, did you like the secretarial practice in your BCom studies? And I took, instead of maths, there was an option, either you take maths or a secretarial practice. I took secretarial practice. And so I thought, let me understand, so I requested, can I just be there on 1 or 2 days and listen to the professors, and then we can decide. So we three friends, we sat for a lecture and we started liking. Then we all three joined, and when we asked our parents, when we went back to home, and they said, what is this CS? No, you do CA. And I was good in schooling also, and ranked in BCom also. So got Bombay University scholarship also to do some further studies. So my father was not very happy. He said, you do CA or do LLB. What is this CS course? And mostly people in 1985, those early days, were thinking CS is a personal secretary or kind of a government secretary or kind of any kind of a job which is not very decent enough for a woman. And I was saying that no, it is something different. It is not like that. And I was explaining, but the companies were not very popular. And I'm coming from a Jain community, Gujarati Jain community. And in our community mostly, and my father also was a businessman. So in the proprietorship or a partnership, traditional partnership form. So they were not able to understand what is this company and why you want to do in such thing. Nobody in the family has done. But still, my father was very open-minded. He trusted whatever you have decided must be good for you. So you can go for it and see if you like. Otherwise, keep the option open to take a break and do CA. So he was insisting constantly to do CA. And my arithmetic is still poor. And so I never wanted to do CA. And I said, no, I like meticulous work or the drafting. And that was my second option, actually. My first option, before I forget, my first option was always art.
Okay.
And I wanted to do art or a painting or cooking or anything. And my father and family strictly said, if this given a two choice, CS or art, choose CS, no art. So fortunately, that was simple for my family to get convinced because I gave them a tough options. Both were tough for them. And my father said, no, nothing, no JJ school or no catering college. You just take and do something which may help in business. So that's how my family allowed me. And my father was very, very cooperative, was very open-minded. That helped me a lot because we are three sisters and the youngest one was a brother, my younger brother. And my father always thought that you should be financially independent. So my elder sister took science and she was doing B.Pharm. I was also told that if you do, then you can do medicine. But I was so scared of dissection. And I said, I can't dissect live creature like cockroaches or a frog or anything. I am comfortable taking commerce. And that's how I have no choice. So I ended up in doing this. parallelly, I thought I will be doing LLB also. I enrolled for both LLB and CS, and that's how my father allowed me to do that.
So it was your father who gave the permission, and like you said, in the 80s, he was quite forward thinking and he allowed you to do the CS course. And they said that it is better than doing any course in arts, better you do CS. So that is very nice to know. Ma'am,
Yeah.
can you share a few stories about your journey as a student? I know it's quite some time ago, but if you jog back in the memory lane, it will be nice for us to know how were your student days as a CS student.
No, but I had to give you more facts also, because
Yeah.
I started in 1985. In 85, I cleared my BCom, and I started both CS, and I cleared my oral coaching. And that time it was CC, the correspondence course writing exam. So
Yes,
that you
yes.
have to pass. So I
Yeah.
passed that, but before my exam, I had to take a break because suddenly my marriage was decided, and I wanted to study. My husband also, would be husband, say that you continue, but unfortunately in the family there was some incident, and I could not give my exam.
Okay.
And then I thought maybe it's not my choice and let it be. Let's see how the destiny unfolds. So in during 1986 to 1990, I did nothing. I mean, 4 years or 5 years, I was at home, got married, had a son, young son, and my father asked me, why are you spoiling your career? Do something. So I started my business. I started my distributorship. For 4 years, I did a lot of variety of things. Like I started tuitions, giving tuitions, art competition, art practicing. Then I started distributorship and I got an award also for Balsara Autopic distribution, highest in Mumbai. So during those 4 years, I did a lot of things, and then I one find it as a shock. My father expired in just 49, at the age of 49. He was my role model. He was my solid, strong support, and that was the time when I decided I should do something. My father always wanted me to be financially independent, and I thought I'll start my CS again. So in 1990 again I enrolled. So it was not in 86 I started. I took a 4 year break and then I did. So I don't think people say that it is after break you cannot start, or it's for women it is very difficult. So luckily I was fortunate. My in-laws were very cooperative and they supported me for my choice to go for. I wound up my practice. I mean my distributorship, and with 1 year old kid I started. That was that was really little challenging. But when I look back, but that time it just happened because once you focus something, no, and you are determined, things fall in place. Everything will fall in place. So my kid was just 3 months old, 6 months old, and I started. And during those days it was very difficult for the family, for the typically Guju families and the societies, that I'm going in the evening for classes between 6 to 9. That time it was a oral coaching class in the evening, no
Correct.
other coaching. And evening coaching class, because all professors used to come at the after completing their office assignments and all. So I was going that time. So I realized that it doesn't make any difference at what age you start, how many number of attempts you give. It doesn't make any difference. It is only what is important is your skill, how confidently you start and you demonstrate, and the knowledge which you have. That's the most relevant. So
Ma'am, actually, I'm slightly digressing, but since you brought a very important point, actually, I was thinking to ask later, but now itself, I want to bring this topic because we have many ladies and many women out there with a similar situation which you faced in the early 90s. That is, either they're married or in sometimes they have a kid and they feel that no, no, now I cannot do CS. Now I should not do, I should just be in the family. What is your message to all these people out there, especially the women? They have the interest, but something is stopping them.
I think for a woman, no, it is nothing. I don't want to say that about gender. Woman or men, equal hard work, equal passion, and equal knowledge is required, whether you are a man or woman. But woman, there are more challenges because there are certain tasks which are very normal for the woman or family expect woman to do, and woman also love. So there is nothing to complain or crib about it. But what I feel as a woman, you have challenges. So first of all, your target should be that you want to be financially independent. That's very much important. Financial independence should be your target, or you should be having goal that I don't want to depend on anything. And then stick to your culture, stick to your discipline that I want to be in this particular course, whether it will take 1 year, 2 year, doesn't matter. Your age, your attempts doesn't matter. Whether you are a ranker or you are not a ranker, you just pass through, but focus on your studies, because it is not an exam oriented you are studying. It is you are studying for the lifelong. You will be practicing in that subject or those subjects. So you should do more sincerely and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, everything will fall equally. Like in my case, my husband was very supportive. He told me whether you have any work or not. When I started my practice, I'm jumping to the different digression again, but I was saying that my husband supported me, and he told me during your uh, initial days also, even if you don't have work, no, start sitting in the office mode between 9 to 5. And that helped me a lot, because that automatically your action, your conduct also gives a serious thoughts to the family, to your friends, that she's seriously working and nobody will bother. So unless you are very much believing in yourself and you put a strict discipline in your work, I think that's very important. Otherwise, people will not get the message across that you are serious about your profession. So think like professional, behave like professional, act like a professional. So your everything, speech, thoughts, and your action should be all professional. Then I don't think anything matters whether a man or woman.
Ma'am, I think what you told is actually very important advice. Like you said, whether work was there or not, initially you used to sit in that office time at office, and that makes not only family but everyone know that you're serious. And the point which everyone should take out of this, like you said, men or women, is that if you're serious and if you showed the world that you're putting in the effort, everything else will definitely come your way at the right time. Ma'am, so how did you manage with training? Because everyone tells about CS training. That is the basically the time after you pass the exam and before you start actually working. So how did you manage training, and how were those days? Because you were married, you had a kid.
I'll tell you our regarding our course. First of all, I also want to give a touch upon our during that early period. No, there was no other material. It was only CS manual or the institute what they were giving the material. That was the
Study
only thing.
material.
And during oral coaching, whatever you get and your friends, then you keep studying the same thing, and that's how people used to pass. I'll just give one anecdote about my completing my CS exam. So when I was a student, there was a excise paper on the excise and custom, which was a very bulky manual, and it was a consecutive. I gave all my attempt in December. I could not give in June because we had a joint family, and in May vacation, my mother-in-law was a teacher, so a lot of family and everybody get together happens in the May month in my house, and I could not take. I could not afford to give exam in June, so all my attempts were in December only, and my paper was there in excise and custom, and that same day at night my son got a very high fever, and he was just 1.5 year old. High fever, and whole night I was taking him on my lap, and I was keeping a small torchlight to keep reading the excise manual or our institute's manual on the excise. And next day, since morning, I mean, I could not sleep the almost whole night. And I told my family, I don't want to give exam. I think I will not be able to pass. I'm so tired. It was a third paper and two more paper or one more paper to go. And my family pushed me, whatever it may be, you just go and give an attempt. That was, I'm thankful to my family. They pushed me like anything. And I went. My husband told me that he will take care of my child, and I gave exam, and fortunately I scored 60 marks in that excise and custom, so I'm so fortunate. But I'll tell you what I did, because I was expecting with a small child that there could be a contingency of such, of any sickness or anything. So I prepared very much well in advance. So I used to spend at least 3 months continuously from October after Diwali till December, or before that little bit, for concentrating all four papers. And during our time in the inter and then the professional, now it is executive and professional. So in the inter and final, in inter there were four papers, so 8 papers. So
Yes.
I gave each time only one group only. I could not have the courage to give all 8 papers because of all those contingency. And I focused only to pass one group. So plan in advance if you are married or if you are you have some difficulty or elderly parents at home, you don't know what contingency may come tomorrow. So be prepared, plan your exams material and everything in such a way that even if you could not go through the previous night, still you are capable to give and deliver at least for passing mark. And that's how that was my story as a student. Now
Yeah.
regarding my training, I completed all my exams, inter and final, and then I thought I will do, because I could not do all parallelly with
Correct.
the family around. So I completed my all passed out in exams, and then I started. So one of my friend who was with Sidnem with me, she suggested, she was doing training with Mr. Manoj Deshmukh. Now he is with the Panasonic group heading legal and secretarial. That time he was in practice. So I also wanted to do, and she told that it's a wonderful experience working with him. So when she was there, it was a 6 months course, and the day I joined Mr. Manoj Deshmukh, that day only it started for 12 months training. So I don't know. I took it then also. I took it very right spirit that maybe this is good for me. I will have a more hand-on experience. And during training, there was no cell phone, there was no map, no Ola, no Swiggy, and we were working in those days. I started in 94. Yes, 94. It was a WordStar in the computers, and it was a dot metric printer. Even to take the print of one balance sheet, it used to take 20-30 minutes also. And fax was used, no WhatsApp, no other kind of communication. Anything urgent used to come from client as a fax, and we had to report immediately. And ROC was also manual filing, filling the form, filing. But we had luckily peons and everybody with the office. We never went to the ROC and stand in a queue, except on those typical October month when there is a last date. And per
Yes.
person, there was only 5 documents they used to take. And believe me, Alok, in those days, ROC used to take three balance sheet copies. We don't know what they are doing with three balance sheets. We was always wondering why they want three. And literally, they were throwing before, yeah, I mean, in front of us. And we thought, what? I don't know what are they going to do with this. And that kind of very demotivating atmosphere
Perfect.
around. And prospectors also we filed. So a lot of good work during my training we did. I was fortunate that we handled public issue of Jain irrigation, Wadilal also there was something going on. Then we handled many things in for Mahindra Group. During my articleship, we used to go to their office, met Mr. Nanda, A.K. Nanda, and he also gave some kind of a motivating
Yes.
advice also. We drafted CLB petition during those days for the charge for change of object clause also you have to go to the company law board. It was not with the ROC.
Correct.
So those are all during my training period. We got a lot of different variety of work, and the drafting of agreement also we learned during our my training. I drafted. I remember still. I'll give you one anecdote there also. One day at 5 o'clock, Manoj Deshmukh sir came and he said, "You have to draft managing director's agreement." And I have never drafted. So I said, sir, any format or anything? He said, no, 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 find out your own. Now that time there was no Google how to find. So I went to a next door chartered accountant office, and he said, there was a deeds and document, one volume was there. I requested, can I take this? And he said, okay, take it. And then I read, and then I started at 5:30. I completed at 8:30. I thought sir wanted today itself. And my sir was in the meeting somewhere. He came back at 8:30 in the office and he saw me. He was surprised. What are you doing here? I said, you told to draft MD agreement. He said, I told you, but not to finish today only. And I finished the same day. I was late, but I was appreciated that you are very dedicated and sincere. And
Okay. That's nice. So, one next thing is now you told us about your training and the varied kind of opportunities and assignments which you got to handle at the training level itself. So, what made you decide to go to practice? Because this is 1995, it was definitely more prevalent for people to get into employment. And being in Mumbai, there were enough and more opportunities for employment. So, how did you decide that, okay, let's go to practice? That must have been a very brave decision. In 2020, it might not be a very difficult decision, but in 95, I'm sure it was a quite challenging decision. How did you make that decision?
actually, I'm coming from a entrepreneur, businessman family background. I never thought of doing something like a employment or something. That was not in my mind. And during my articleship, fortunately, with the support of my husband, of course. He suggested a lot of things. We were discussing all the time that what should be I should be doing, and I was very determined, very much in discipline, and very dedicated to my work. I always wanted to create something, to do something better in life, and my father was a firm believer that you choose the career not as per the reward what you are going to get, but choose the career what you like to do. So that's how my sister and I also choose the career which we wanted. So again, my father's that he was no more there, but always his words were inspiring me, and I thought I will choose what I wanted. I wanted a freedom for work. I could not follow anybody's orders. That was my nature. I don't like to. I like to go with the free flow and kind of my own passion, and never a career oriented as an employee. And I always wanted to get recognized and build some personal brand. And me and my husband took a joint decision with the three more consciously taking a decision. First was my independence and freedom was very dear to me, and I wanted to work independently. Second, I started my career very late. After when I was 30, I started my practice, honestly, in 1995. So there was a 5 year gap, and all were, I mean, with me, whoever was there, they either dropped out, they could not complete because that time CS, I think passing was only 1 or 2%. So it was many of my friends who started along with me, they could not complete, and I completed. That was little helping me to just take that I can do it. And 5 year gap was also there. My son was young, and we had a bungalow. So we thought, let's start a practice only, and if nothing, then after 1 year let's try and give time. And that's how I started my practice.
Okay. So I think it was in your case, like you said, your father words, and one thing which you said is you wanted to be independent and your freedom was very dear, and you were quite confident to take up practice.
See,
Okay,
if
you
you are
took up
if you
practice.
are free and independent, no, you can do and you choose your work. Whereas in employment, you can't choose your work. Whatever is given to you, and then it's slowly. By the time I thought I am already aging and I should start if I want to independently. If young people will start, they may take 1 or 2 years or 4 years in job, and then they can start. But in my case, it was little different. And with the son being so young, I wanted to be around him. And I mean, I'll tell you in my 35th SMTP batch, that was 35th SMTP, that is Secretary Modular Training Practice.
Yes.
So that time we were around 30 members or 30 CS completed. And it was only always after you're completing all professional exams also. And out of that 20 people, I was the only one who was going in employment. Everybody wanted to go in job. So once I thought also that, am I doing something wrong? But then I
So
stick to.
everyone wanted to go for employment and you wanted to get into practice. Okay.
Yes, yes. It was like very challenging to decide that how should I approach people. There is no connection. I don't know anybody, no networking, no social media, no my mentor or my father is around, and nobody professional in the family, no visibility. I mean, and the very strict institute guidelines about not to advertise, not to put. So
Correct.
how am I visible? That was the question, that how I will be visible. But then also I thought I'll just first try, I'll jump into practice, then again employment is always there, I thought of. And that's how I gave first option. And also my mind that time was that once I get the standard paycheck every month to month, then I may or may not be able to come out of it. That was a fear also, or that was a decision, conscious decision I took, that I want to.
So the
And
salary may hold you back from getting into practice, were your thoughts. So one
correct.
thing is getting into the practice, like you said about how you got into it. But once you get in, there are different challenges, like you said, visibility, or there's no network, and there's absolutely when every anyone starts, you have zero clients. So how did you make the transition from zero clients, and how did you get your first client? What was that experience? And the initial years of practice, if you could share your thoughts.
Sure. Actually, when I started in Mumbai, before me, there was another lady company secretary, Jayashree Ben Dagli. She's still there, and she was like our mentor or role model.
Mm-hmm.
On the Sydenham College, always her one post was there that she is looking for some article. So we used to
Okay.
see always Jayashree Dagli's one uh, yeah, I'm on her letterhead, and I used to praise her that on her letterhead, it's so lovely that to see somebody is doing independently. That was a kind of that there are some people who are ahead of us, and we can do it. They have done, we can also do. That was the first thing. Then during my exam also, I mean, during my training period, I showed a lot of dedication to my work, and always your trainer or your mentor sometimes give you the first break. So my trainee's office was in the South Mumbai. I was staying in the middle of Mumbai at Andheri, and it was in the Fort area. So my sir had one first assignment for post public issue handling, and I handle public issues. So it is at Kandivali in the north direction of Mumbai. So he casually asked me, Amita, would you love to do that on very nominal remuneration? I said, yeah, sir, I won't mind. At least I will learn something and I'll keep myself occupied. So I took up that assignment from sir. And obviously, I completed in 3 months all post public issue assignment. It was very much manual travel, and emails were not there. So you can understand running around between the registrars and the merchant banker's office to the client's office. But yeah, I could complete in 3 months' time. Then again, the second opportunity, that company referred me to some another company of their group company, family company, and that's how the mouth publicity, or you can say referral, started. And I was fortunate that my age was also, I was not treated as very young because I was by 30 31. That age actually worked in my favor. People took me very seriously, that she must be in practice. They thought she must be in practice for quite some time, though I was a fresher, but I was given respect like I'm an experienced person. And that attitude, I think my sincerity and courage, or my attitude, worked a lot all the time. Apart from the hard skill, of course, the hard skill is required, but that worked a long way.
Yeah, I
And
think I can relate to what you're saying, ma'am. When you said about age, one of our classmates and friends from CS, he finished CS at the age of 40 and he got into practice. So on day one, everyone thought he was already 10, 15 years into the practice. So
correct.
something similar. Please
Yes,
go ahead, ma'am. Sorry to stop
yes.
you.
No, 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 no. That's okay. So that and during my training, no, I even in this initial few, I think 3 4 months, I was just sitting idle, nothing, no work. And my all friends who are in SMTP, 35th SMTP, all are good, nice, big company. They are placed. They were getting the starting salary of 15,000 to 20,000. That point in time in 1995.
Yeah, that's a big number.
That's a big good number, and I was just wondering, am I doing some error? But then I thought, no, one, let's, I took a decision, let's stick to that and be consistent in what I'm doing. So I started writing all checklists. In fact, in between, one of our family member was in working in ENY. I went to meet him. I said, you just give me guidance. And he told me, do you want some referral? I said, no, I wanted to be a self-made person like my father. That was again my little, not an ego, but I want to be a independent person on my own, not through the referral of the family. So I denied that, and I said, you just give me one advice, what I should do. He told me a beautiful advice, and I followed him very, very sincerely. He told me, during your time when you are not having any work, but you are in the office mode of your determination of being there and 10 to 6, start writing all checklists, resolutions, and start writing what you have not done during your training. In 12 months, we have not completed all the learning. So obviously, there are a lot of things I had to learn. So that my learning started. I opened all my whatever books, and Alok, it was a very costly book. Ramayya was very costly. We could not afford. There are many other books, but I used to borrow, take Xerox from library. That was the time when the Xeroxing also was, sometimes we could not afford also.
Yeah.
So then also I used to take some, I started writing on my own about all assignment which I have not done. I started writing article, and my writing habit started from there, in starting all checklists, resolution, a functionality, processes in Excel. That time Excel was also not that. Actually, I was doing manually also in my book, and that was my all assignment. And then the reference started coming, and then I have never looked back for my time which is free to do such kind of research or doing something. So that's the first thing which everybody should do
Oh,
when they start the practice. And
okay.
how I grew also, I'll tell you, during my initial period, I started in 95, and
Correct.
1993, Manmohan Singh opened the economy.
Correct.
And the Reserve Bank of India was, I mean, foreign exchange management, it was still FERA regime. And it is a transition period from FERA to FEMA. And during 95 to 99, it was like for me only the opportunity just opened up. I took it in such a way that that was the point when I started and I got the first assignment from software companies and setting up subsidiaries abroad, getting foreign money, ECB, lot of things. And being Mumbai is a central office in FDI, FED, that is Foreign Exchange Department, ODI, Overseas Direct Investment, FDI, which is a foreign direct investment. So a lot of inbound, outbound transaction during that time I had handled, which gave me a lot of confidence. And Citibank was one of the, the bank which is asking for the review or document sending, and that helped me a lot during my initial period. And RBI was very welcoming for a company secretary. Forget about a lady or a male. They were not happy somehow for a chartered accountant in that period. Something has happened. The incident was not good. So they were welcoming that you take and we will give you all support. So Reserve Bank was a, I mean, wonderful department where I love working with them. And second thing I found there is a lot of gap between a lawyer and a solicitor. We should never compete with the chartered accountant. Their domain is completely different. Lawyer and a solicitor, maybe we can, there are a gap because solicitors, I think the fees are very much on a higher side. Some small clients may or may not afford. Advocates, they do not understand the Companies Act the way a company secretary understands. And so
Exactly.
I found there is a gap when my client wanted to have any kind of a small agreement, even lease agreement or the employment agreement, MD agreement, or a small drafting of a show cause notice reply. I found they are struggling and they could not. So I once requested, can I handle and just I will help you out with no nothing. I never chase. I mean, I honestly uh, give this that I have never followed for the particular set of fees and anything. I wanted to learn and I wanted to see am I delivering properly as per the requirement. That helped me also, and I started getting a lot of work for the various kind of agreements. Then also, I think till today there is a lot of gap between lawyers' work and the solicitors' work for a SME. Do not target only those listed company, which may be 7,500 companies out of total 12 lakh active companies. So
Correct.
why we should follow up only listed company? We can always target a lot of gaps are there. You fill the gap and find out your niche area and start delivering more. I mean, then the work will
So
flow.
just listening to you, what is very clear is that if you are ready and if you are able to work, opportunities will come. Because I'm sure when you're studying, that time we really did not know how the Indian economy will open, or even if it opens, how the foreign software companies will come. We didn't know this, but it was because you were ready, the opportunity met with the readiness of your knowledge, and it was a perfect marriage for you to prosper in the practice. So, ma'am, what are some of the
Again,
things?
again, there are a lot of opportunities after that. My
Yeah.
career, if I see my career, 25 years, I started and grew in FERA and FEMA regime. Then immediately after that, the gap between a lawyer and a solicitor of drafting work. Then
Yes.
Companies Act 2013 came. Now CSR. Then in between insolvency professional. Tomorrow there may be a SEBI new code. Then labor laws. A lot of areas are open for us. So
Exactly.
I think it is our mind which should be open. So during lockdown, I always keep telling my trainees that lockdown, our movement is lockdown, our mind is not lockdown. You keep exploring whatever you know and you like.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice. So lockdown is just for the movement, but not our mind, and we can explore. And like you said, if you're ready, opportunities will meet. And you told few examples. Now
Correct.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about examples. Can you tell us any one or two incidents about how traditionally we don't expect a company secretary to do it, but you had that experience and the client or anyone else was happy with it. So if you can share one or two stories, I'm sure it will inspire anyone who is coming up in the profession.
I was about to say that I would to explain or share some stories what I have
Yes,
undergone during
please.
my initial period. So one thing I remember that never play a victim card. Being a woman, there is a
Uh,
urgency to go to home. Never. You show sincerity that you are available and you can do it. That two things goes a long way. So I'll share one incident or maybe a kind of what I have done. I travel internationally also for one client who was in software and Y2K problem started. They wanted to give body shopping was also very popular. It's a term where employees are working on behalf of company to overseas
Correct.
companies, and they wanted to set up a wholly owned subsidiary and also wanted to acquire a software company in UK, Ireland, and Dubai. So I was told that will you be able to travel? I said, yeah, why not? He said, will you be going alone? I said, I won't mind. I never hesitated to say, oh, I will ask my husband, because that freedom was given to me. And this family support is very important for any woman to step out outside. That I mean, I cannot emphasize more on that. So, and when I committed that I will be able to go, they asked me that, do you think you require a solicitor or advocate to assist you? I said, no need. It's in English language. They said yes, except in German company. That's a Indo-German Chamber of Commerce was available. You can take their help for translation. So I took up that assignment. And my family also supported. My young son was just fifth or sixth, I mean, 5 year old by that time, 5 or 7 year old. And he was little hesitant, but I took and I convinced him that I am coming back with a lot of toys and these and all story. How you have to find out your some kind of convincing tactics also with the family, and not to manipulating, I will not say, but how you can convince and how you can say that it means a lot to me. Can I do that? And I don't think any husband or any family member will disappoint you if you are honest and they see your sincerity. So I was allowed to go to the international. 3 times I traveled, and many skill I first time I understood that there is a soft skill. I don't have to just be aware about my company's secretary. There has to be a general knowledge, how to meet people, how to greet people, how to walk, how to dress up, how to check in, and how to order a food also when your joint venture partners or proposed sellers are sitting with you, and how do you. So I was along with my managing director and 2 account people, and I was there to for 12 days. We were there in Scandinavian country also, in UK also, and Dubai, and completed my deal. And before going, I told my managing director that, do you think I would be giving justice to the work? And he gave me a beautiful one line that nobody comes learning everything. The work will teach you if your attitude is good. And that, I mean, went a long way, and I could complete, and I'm very happy that I handled that. Second, similarly in Bombay, when I was in another company, which is a chemical company, and that they were taking over companies in Bidar, in Hyderabad, and near Solapur, in Vapi, and in Taloja, and also in the interior of Maharashtra. And everywhere I was running, they told me, you are only going to handle. I said, I have never visited chemical plants. They said, no, but just go, because the register office is there and you check and you do. And whatever, whenever I was not a valuer, I was not at all a chartered accountant who knows number. But
Yeah.
whenever I said this was, I find this company, there are some kind of not a proper compliance or governance is not in place. You can negotiate your value. There, my entrepreneur skill or my help of my father, I was with my father during 85 to 90, working with in his office. So that all entrepreneur skill also sometimes helps. And that you have to see the opportunity and tell to the managing director. It should not be expected from you, but you can always put across your thoughts that this is what I am finding. There is a gap, and maybe we can expect this much penalty, and you can
Mm.
renegotiate or something like that. So that helped a lot. That client understood that you are just not complying, you are just caring and having understanding about the business also. And then next opportunity will automatically open for you. And that's how I did good in my article. I mean, my initial year, and all
So
my clients
talking about,
respected me. Yes.
yes, ma'am, I think that two anecdotes was quite interesting about travel and also having to visit a chemical plant, which is a registered office. That's really quite interesting. So, what were the
I will tell you one bad incident also, if you allow
Yeah,
me.
sure, definitely.
Yeah. So in my early days, I was handling one company assignment, and that company was of um, restaurant chain hotels they were having, and they are all Shetties. And I never met the managing director. I was handling. He was in Dubai all the time, and he used to come only once in a month here. So we were accepting deposit. That company was accepting public deposit, and you have to give a newspaper advertisement also. So I have prepared all newspaper advertisement as per the requirement of law, And Section 58A was very rigid and very strict. If
Correct.
something goes wrong, there is an imprisonment, and that was not
Mm.
compoundable. So first time I was doing, I never handled that work in my training period. I did that, and there was an account team, and I told them that above that, my complete uh, facts about the scheme. Above you put the figures and the numbers and what rate minimum what should be, and they said okay, you go, we will complete, and it will go in publication house. So when it I went, I could not see the complete format. So next day it came in the public newspaper, big in the Times of India, and it was missing. The numbers were missing above. It was all the fact of the legal requirement. Nothing was above, and I was shocked. I said, "What happened?" And I rushed to the Santa Cruz office of the company, and I told that this is an error. And that day only, the managing director had come in, and he was there sitting in the conference room. So I asked account department, I'll go and meet the sir and I'll tell this has to be it has to be repeated. And 50,000 was the cost for this newspaper advertisement in 1998 or 99. And I was very much afraid. I asked my family before going that this error is done and I will take the responsibility on me and I'll ask. And they said, how do you repay? I said, I'll see, I'll just go. So I went into sir's cabin and I told, this is what has happened and I'm sorry, it's my error. Whatever you are giving me, I'll serve you 4 or 5 years free. And that managing director was started laughing. He was a Shetty, he never laughed. That's what people said, he will never smile. And he said, Madam, do you know there is a corrigendum you can always give, so don't worry. And that was my incident. I thought back that how foolish it was, but we make some errors also. We are all humans. So do not underestimate. Sometimes you goof up, but accept, go boldly, take the responsibility. No heaven will fall, neither you will be thrown out. Just go and accept whatever happened. Honestly, people like honesty and integrity. That's my experience.
Okay. Ma'am, what is your message to everyone who wants to training? Because you have trained many people and their company secretaries in different places. So what's your message to trainees in your role as a trainer?
So I love training and meeting my young buddy students or a company secretary. Unfortunately, there is a 2 generation gap now, before Google period and after Google period. And unfortunately, most of the current trainees and the students, they just want everything very, very fast. We are in a very fast pace. Everything should be fast. They just want in no time and complete, which in our case it was not there. We used to go, if an assignment will come like a change of name, example, a small example, change of name, we used to go to the section, to the now that time it was not rule, but now we should go to the section, then the rules, then some kind of article of association for any private limited company is very, very relevant and important. Nobody sees that. They just want, they will first text the friends WhatsApp, anything is ready. Somebody will say no, then they say okay, Google. Then start Google, download. They don't differentiate public, private, limited, and just start and draft something and give. You can make out that they are not doing the correct word. So slowly, silently, we keep inspiring them to start independently, to sit in the conference room, read the section, read the law. Then the checklists are ready, go through that, or you prepare your checklist and we are ready for the improving. That's what I used to tell them and convince them, do not copy. Second thing, for the training, drafting is very, very poor because of this copy pasting type. And because nobody has guided them, that's what I give a liberty or a benefit of doubt to the student, that they are not guided. So I tell them, whenever you draft, now you see and imagine the view or the scene that you are either the contract or assuming a minutes you are drafting, you see that you are sitting in the boardroom. Consider what could be the discussion about this topic. Can you simply write 2-line narration and just copy paste the resolution? No. You have to give proper writing, and that's how the flow of writing I teach them. Apart from that, I always keep saying them, whatever you think, you speak, and you act should be always professionally proper. You are a professional. Look upon yourself not as a normal human or a normal citizen. You are more responsible citizen because you are a professional. Government, society has expectation from you. So do not disappoint them. Learn something which is professionally correct. Manage your time, because of social media, a lot of choices and a lot of distraction. So that's what I think I teach. And the last thing I tell them, that be good listener. They just don't listen. Once we say this is okay, madam, ho jayega. What? How? Just listen. These are the points. These are the problems. So I mean, the first thing I tell, be a good listener. Understand what I expect from you. Go through the meticulously. Manage your time. Come in time. Complete the assignment, and then share with the team also, and take help of the team. That's what I
Okay.
think.
I think
advise.
that's really nice to know, ma'am. I'm sure whoever is trained under you is somebody who's learned a lot. Now, coming from training, the next thing we really want to know is the entire horizon of 1995 till today. It's a rich experience of 25 years plus. And like you told, when you started, even computers were just coming about. And then now we have the age of Google and everything is at our fingertips. And you started with the FERA regime. Then it was a transition to FEMA. Then after that, there's huge opportunities for CS in practice, which has come about. Now, ma'am, what is your view on the future trends of the company secretary profession, especially in the practice? Since you have always been in practice, where do you see how high can the practice side of company secretary profession go? And what are the future trends that you see based on your experience of 25 plus years?
I think what is expected from CS has gone a long way. The CS has become like a backbone of any company. People look CS as the first person nowadays. Earlier, they were used to go even to start a practice. I mean, in practice also, people wanted to start a company or anything, they will go to a chartered accountant. Now the trend is completely different for last 10 years. After the Companies Act 2013, more so, people will come first to the company secretary asking what kind of an entity should be suiting me, like a company or a one-person company, LLP, or if I am doing some NGO, then Section 8 company trust. A lot of options are there. You tell me advantage, disadvantage, compliance cost, everything. So the compliance cost, penalty, it's little bit of fear factor, but other thing is also your knowledge factor. Because of
Yeah.
your knowledge, people come to you. Secondly, definitely because of the fear of not being in the non-compliance. So that means now the compliance is important, and the governance is also equally important. People wanted to be a good governed company. They want the new generation entrepreneurs, they want to focus more on their work rather than the compliance part. So a lot of importance for the company secretary. I told you again, for SMEs and MSMEs, there are a lot of scope, and the future trend also. SMEs also now understand who is a company secretary. They do come for any starting of the work, and inclusive of all, like for the listed company, unlisted company, for a bank, for NBFC company. The horizon of the company secretary's work is widened. People take them seriously, very respectfully, and we can make some changes. It's an impact which is not directly visible or convertible in the rupees term as a profit term, but definitely there is a value, and we add value to the any businesses by a lot of things doing right, being in the right side of law, and the sectoral standard, even the new Companies Act, and the specialization was also increased. Lot many laws have changed, like SEBI also, the new code is coming, labor laws change, MSME is there, then LLP is there, new policies, education policy, drone policy, a lot of policies are there, data protection policy. You look at that. There are a lot of things where the interpretation skill of the company secretary is at par with the solicitor also, I can say. Their understanding with the practical knowledge, maybe a listed company, unlisted company, but if the mind is open, they can contribute a lot. So I see a lot of opportunity in the Atma Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat also, and like 20 years before it was totally different where we were independently practicing. But I think current trend should be for the future company secretary, it should be more like let's connect and take the collaboration mode, where you have a very efficient young company secretary, maybe an expert company secretary in some particular domain, and an experienced company secretary who has a number of years of experience. So this three combo would make a wonder, and I think this should be developing a brand as a company secretary, a good law firm, or a good company secretary firm like a big law firm. We all can do that.
Yeah, I think that is also ICSI's vision of mega firms and how they want company secretaries to come together. So one is, like you said, the wonderful
But
idea
in
of
mega firm
collaboration.
also, I will say in the mega firm also, it should not be all young company secretary unite.
Yes.
Let's have a
Experienced
combo
and
of
young.
2, 3 where there is expert, domain expert. There is a collaboration with the experienced company secretary and the young, energetic who understand technology. I think technology we cannot ignore anymore. Technology never harms. It is always a boon. It's always not to be considered a threat, but a facility or a complementary. You cannot discount. There is no need to be aware. I mean, be afraid of technology. In
So you were,
2006, when it started,
yeah,
people were thinking the work will go down. It never went down.
it actually went up.
Mm, it went up. So similarly, now when the company MCA is coming with the version 3, yes, with the AI, we should not be worried. Our repetitive job where there is no human intelligence is required, they may change, and it's good for us. We are not for clerk. We are for more important work to do for the industry, for the our business. So there is no challenge.
Yeah. So you're talking about collaboration and how we should really be not worried about MCA 3.0, and it's actually good for the CS profession. Ma'am, we wanted to ask you a little bit about what are the areas which a practicing company secretary or a firm which is upcoming, maybe they're 2, 3 years into practice or about 5 years into practice, they feel that they're doing only core corporate secretarial work. I'm not saying it is bad or less, that itself is a big ocean, but they get queries from other laws. So can you tell us what are the things which practicing CS can take up along with the core corporate secretarial and FEMA work?
There are a lot of opportunities open. Not necessary you should stick to only corporate and like as I see Companies Act, then there is a competition law, there's securities law, litigation, operation mismanagement, appearance, getting the approvals, SMEs, startups. You can do in practice in intelligent property right or IPR, and also there are a lot of things where I told you about these new policies, labor code, labor laws, and many more will open once it. I think you one should go not with the profession or the practice where there is a reward, not with the money, more rewarding. Where your passion is, you find the passion, and then I think the world will open. You can be the best in that if you think that this is for you only. But if you go just for the sake of getting the money, then you will get bored after some time. I don't think the long journey can be completed when you don't enjoy the work. You enjoy the work, so you go into that direction. So some people has gone long ahead in the competition law. Competition Act is upcoming, and people enjoy that and they are happy. So some people are there in MSME, SEZ. They just handle only SEZ work. So this is a time for the specialization. Particular each domain experts will come up. Like when we do sectoral audit also, there is a lot of law for the company we have to look into, which was not there in the company secretary's work. Though we learned a lot, but we never did a detailed one. But now when we do sectoral audit, we do and touch upon a lot of other laws. And
Yes, all the applicable laws which we study, even in the director's responsibility statement, section 134, subsection 5, that clause F talks about all applicable laws
all
and which is also
applicable
in
laws. Correct.
secretarial standards. I think
Absolutely.
what
So
you
once
told
you
was very interesting, ma'am, because you were telling it is even things like new education policy, there are things we can interpret and there are opportunities there. CSR you spoke about, labor laws you spoke about, technology related data protection, new policies. So I think this should really inspire everyone who's watching this that
GST is again. I mean, I honestly feel I should be younger by 20 years. I'm so excited with the new trend, with the new support, with the social media which is available like LinkedIn, Twitter. You can collaborate, you can do wonder, and you really should be passionate. Then only you can do. If you just do for the sake of doing, you will not enjoy. Don't do
correct.
for the power or position or profit and some kind of a possession of something. Just go with the to gain some respect, to realize, and to also be a very resilient and give more important to the relationship.
Yeah, so
Relationship will
doing
always
what you
open.
really like, I think even your father was giving the same advice to you. Doing what we really like will take us very high in the career. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. And I think I have heard. I'll just tell you one small story. In one of the boardroom, one lady, independent director, she told that what kind of uh, important uh, kind of a quality in any professional should be. She gave a
Yeah,
beautiful answer. I forgot the name of the independent director. She told that in every credit card on the backside there is a CVV.
yeah,
Very simple message. And he said, you just remember that 3CVV. One C first is for the credibility. That means your attitude, your curiousness, your positivity, your open mindedness, how you think. So that goes about your credibility. Second is a V, which is like a visibility. What you speak, how you communicate, what is your oral written communication, or your body language, even your dressing, everything is a visibility, because that people judge when you walk inside the room, people definitely judge you. And so that goes second. First is credibility, second is a visibility, and the third is a validating. Validating means you take a stand for something as per your attitude. Then you are visible, that you are talking constantly about then that point only. And then suddenly you are not validating anybody's action for that, which is wrong. That means your action should speak your your attitude and communication. So what you think, speak, and act should be in tandem. Then that quality is the most important. That's what I have learned from that lady company secretary, lady independent director. She said, I always look at this 3CVV for anybody in a profession. And that was a wonderful message. I still keep myself open for that, that am I doing right? What I'm thinking, I'm speaking, and I'm doing. It should be in tandem. Then I'm happy. My audience
Credibility,
is happy.
visibility, and validity.
Validating.
Okay, sure, ma'am. I think
Validating is your action, because that's
okay.
how you act, no? When you think, you speak, and you act. So credibility is your attitude, visibility is your communication, and the validating is your action, your
Validating.
hard work, your perseverance, your relations with others, your EQ, not only IQ. All those are validating that you are a person of a good attitude, good communication skill, and great in action. And that I just keep it in my mind always as a credit card with me.
So, like you told about CVV, what do you feel are the 3 or 4 important qualities to be a successful corporate law consultant in today's day and age?
I think today's with the I'll 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 give you a reply in a different way.
Sure, please.
Pre-COVID and the post-COVID. So I mean, then we can merge also, because
Correct.
it's both important. But pre-COVID, always we were thinking that people should be more with the integrity, ethical, and and adaptable. This adaptable is for the post-COVID, but pre-COVID, whatever was required, always, because the company secretary work is very, very confidential and very important work. And
Yes.
believe me, people used to trust me because I'm a woman. Sorry to say that, but the gender also plays sometime role. In one of my clients, they were not changing me for quite long. I said, "Sir, are you okay?" He said, "Yes, yes, we are confident about the lady company secretary because we trust them. They are very loyal. They are very faithful." And first time I heard all those things. I said, "No, sir, equally for men." They said, "No, no, men may change for few thousand rupees. They may change me, but at least I know the soft, tender nature of a lady would never allow us to put in a difficult." And that, I think, in a partially he was right also. So I mean, sorry to digress that, but I think the first skill should be integrity and your ethical behavior. That's the first I would say. And post COVID, now I will add adaptability. How fast you will adapt to a situation. That's another thing. Second important skill is your communication. I just cannot emphasize more about that. And this communication means just not oral or written, but your body language. I always emphasize that as a body language. Even if you speak properly, your language is fantastic, but your body language is not syncing with that, people will understand. It's not a good sign. So communication, I will say. And now with the post COVID, online communication. Always offline is different, but now online, how easily you can explain the requirement of law to your customer, your clients, and your students. That's very important, very critical. The third is the mindset, the open mindset. A solution oriented mindset for a practicing person is a must. You can't go to the client saying that this is a problem you can't do. You have to find a way out, or you should be ready with the plan B, or you should be ready that it is not doable, sir. It is not in our benefit in future. There are this danger, and don't scare them, but give your honest opinion. And that's how you will be trusted more, you will be respected more. So don't go under the scaring the company, but go with the solution oriented mindset. And I think those three things I find very important: integrity, communication, and your mindset.
Okay, I think I'm sure whatever you're saying, every word is really very useful, and the experience is speaking. I mean, you might not be conscious about it, but for someone who's listening, I can make out the experience is speaking. All the 25 plus years experience is speaking. Ma'am, since a lot of our audience on this particular show are students or just about freshers or starting, of course, everyone watches it, but that is the bulk of the audience. What is your message to them in terms of what qualities of soft skills they should develop, ma'am? You already mentioned some, but if you can specifically, what soft skills we needed in the future?
I think there's a data available on some statistics that your hard skill may be some 25% and your soft skill is 75% for being a successful person. And when you travel more, you meet more people, you are open minded, definitely you will realize that your change within you, that's the mindset will be open. You cannot remain in the small cocoon all the time. You have to come out and face the world. So for our student, no, I think there are few things which I would like to tell. First of all, be consistent what you want and be bold. Don't think all the time that what tomorrow it will come, tomorrow the AI will come, what job will remain, what will remain. Don't think about it. At least you have a professional mindset. Many avenues will open with you. So don't go with the, and I believe in one more thing, that there is abundance in the universe. I strongly believe that and advocate for that. There is abundance, there is no scarcity. It is your mind and your limiting belief which makes you that this is limited and I'm in competitive mode. Don't go into the competition mode. People are there because there is a purpose for them, and everybody came with some purpose. So just be comfortable with your course, complete, give 100%, be bold to take anything. Like any opportunity comes, don't think that I have never done, so can I do that? Just do. People are there to help you, and there will be enough, like with the social media, there's nothing to scare you, but you should be honest and 100% you should be putting. Second, be ready for the sacrifices. They want everything, but without sacrifice. That's not the law of universe. If you want to gain something, you have to give away something. You can't have both. So be ready for the small sacrifices, because you are a professional. Think about other professionals, the current situation, any doctor. Think about them, what they must be sacrificing for continuous period of 1.5 years now. So be ready as a professional to sacrifice some kind of your small joys, or for some larger picture. Think about larger picture. Third, and the most important thing which I again and again emphasize, is embrace technology. It will be complement to you. It is never a threat. It cannot replace human being. So no professional can remain immune to this sweeping change in technology which is coming. There is an evolution, and then only the evolution is possible. There has to be a technology, and there has to be a new opportunity opening up with the new development in the technology. So never consider, embrace technology. We are quite old now. Like even if I want, I can't go back to 20 years, but I wish I can understand technology much better. So I am also studying and learning. Daily I'm learning about the new technology, how I can put it more in my domain, in my practice, so that my clients will get the comfort. I'm not worrying about they will reduce my fees. Even if they reduce, there is more thing which will open. I have my more time to do something relevant. So I think these are the three things: consistency, ready for the sacrifice, embrace technology. These are the three which a new CS, whether in a student or as a professional or a starter, I think that would be the first three message from me. Never think about what ICSI will do. ICSI cannot do so many things. ICSI as an institute is made up of all of us. Like MBBS, do you think they find a work for them, MBBS doctors? No. Find your own place or the space in the economy, in the ecosystem, in the industry. Give something which is value added. You will be placed. You will never be replaced.
I think what you said is very important, especially in the last part when you said, yes, ICSI is there and they're doing a great job, but it is up to us. It is up to us to carve our own niche, to make sure that we reach the position which we like. And like you said, ma'am, please try and do what you really like, and you'll really go very high in the corporate ladder or in your career. So, ma'am, I think you have shared a lot with us, right from your early days of how you took up CS, and then you had a gap because of marriage and you had a kid, and then you took up CS again after the sad demise of your father, and how your father's words inspired you that do what you like, and you made sure you completed it, and your training days you told us about. After the training, the professional practice of how you went and sat in office, even if initially there was not really too much work at hand, and how your practice grew. I think everything you have captured the entire 25 plus years of experience in about an hour's time. And I'm sure these words will be very inspiring to all our audience. And I'm sure we really would like to listen to you more often. So we would like to thank you to come on our show, The World of Company Secretaries. Personally, me as a practicing company secretary also, I learned a lot in this episode, and I should really thank you for that.
Thank you. And before going now, I'll just tell you one more small advice for any new fresher company secretary to start the
Yes, ma'am,
practice.
please.
If you start the practice, no, it's a chicken and egg story. Whether you will get the client, then you will put the money, or you will first put the money and get the client. So it's a chicken and egg story. And I've always learned, put your money first. Believe in that. That definitely that it will give you return. Just jump and spend money before you get the client. So investment you have to do first, then your client will definitely be there.
Okay,
Because many people have asked me this particular story, that how did you started it. So I thought it's a chicken and egg story. They are all saying that once I get one or two client, I will leave my job. It never happens that way. You have to leave your job and start doing and believing in yourself, and they complete your skills.
And in fact, in a profession like CS, the good part is most of our investment is actually our knowledge, as compared to starting some business. You start any business, you need to stock, or you need some initial capital, which is quite a sizable amount. So compared to that, our investment in terms of money is actually quite less, and our investment in time.
I'm not saying that only the tangible, the intangible number
is
of hours.
exactly.
Number of hours you have to put lot many number of hours. Yeah.
Exactly. So the investment in terms of intangibles, which ma'am is telling, if you invest, definitely you get the results. And the story, a great inspirational story before us, is CS Amita Desai ma'am, who took up CS, who restarted with a kid of less than 1 year old. It's not very easy, whether you're a man or woman, and then completed the course, did the training, and has built a wonderful practice of 25 plus years. So that was CS Amita Desai ma'am. Once again, we would like to thank you for coming on our show, and we wish to talk to you more often and to inspire more students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a great privilege, and all the best to the world of company secretary. Great job you people are doing, and my all good wishes for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.